Hello my dear children, in today's video we are going to study about winds. Before this you have to watch my first video which is dealt with the pressure belts and the shifting of pressure belt. If you have not seen that video, the link is given in the description box. You can watch it. So this is the second part of the same chapter, ICSE 9th standard. So let's begin the video. Winds. The flow of the air from the high pressure belt, a high pressure area, to low pressure area is called wind. So, in other words, the movement of the air from high pressure to low pressure is known as winds. For your comparison, how the water flows. Wherever water flows from high areas to low areas. So same as winds always flows from high pressure to low pressure. So in this chapter we are going to discuss about the reduced syllabus of ICSE 9th standard, the winds, its definition, types of winds, host latitudes, and some tricky questions which may be asking in the board exams, and diagram showing each type of winds. These are the points we are going to discuss in this chapter. This is a little bit long video, but you have requested to watch it completely so that you will be able to study each and every point with all concepts. Okay. So first, what are the factors affecting the winds? You know that wind comes from high pressure to low pressure area, but still lot more factors affecting about its speed as well as the flow, direction and all. So first of all, the pressure gradient force. This I already discussed to you. The pressure gradient force means pressure affects the flow of the wind. Next, the Coriolis force. That means the rotation of the earth. We already discussed in the first video about Coriolis force. If you haven't seen, you can watch the first video which is uploaded, the first part of pressure belts. Next, the frictional force. Friction, you know that there is a force affects while we are having touching each other. On the earth, we are having high lands, low lands, and hills, mountains, even buildings, oceans, water, etc. So the air will be touching in these obstacles. The frictional force affects, and when there is a high friction, the speed will be decreased. The speed of the air, that means the speed of the wind will be decreased. What are the types of winds? First is permanent wind or the planetary winds. All types of winds we are going to discuss in detail. These are the only points: permanent winds and planetary winds. Next is periodic wind. As the name suggests, it comes periodically. That means seasonally. Permanent all the year we can see this type of winds. Next comes local winds. The name suggests that the wind comes locally. I mean local names are there. These all things we are going to discuss in detail. Only points have been discussed here. Last point is variable winds. Okay, let's start. The first one, permanent wind or planetary winds. The characteristics. Wind blows in a vast areas of the continent or ocean. This is blowing throughout the year and it blows in a definite direction. So all the year we can see the blow of the wind in a definite direction. A fixed direction it blows. It blows throughout the year. हमेशा हर साल में ये blow होते रहते हैं. So some type of permanent winds. First one is trade winds. These winds blow from subtropical high pressure belt. I told you always wind blows from high pressure to low pressure. So this is blowing from subtropical high pressure. This is already we discussed about subtropical high pressure belt, equatorial low pressure belt, everything we discussed in the first video. If you have not seen, you can watch the video. The description box I have already given the link. So this wind blows from subtropical high pressure belt towards equatorial low pressure belt in both hemispheres. Whenever we dealt with this permanent wind, it will be going in both hemispheres. That means northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. Okay, how it goes? In northern hemisphere, it goes north to south. Okay, north to south, but it is not going from in a direct line, straight line. It won't go, but it will be deflecting due to Coriolis effect. It deflecting due to Coriolis effect. So it's a right deflection. I show you the diagram in the next slide, but you just comes that north to south. It will be deflecting. I'm showing here deflecting to right side. In south to north, south means always downside. South means down, north means up. So south to north, it deflects to left direction. That means here left. This is because of the effect of Coriolis effect. That means the rotation of the earth. So let's see the diagram. Diagram shows trade winds. Here you can see the blue lines. Okay, so deflection is there. So north side, it comes northeast to southwest. Okay, it's deflecting to right direction. This is southern hemisphere and this is northern hemisphere. So here it comes right, and from south it goes to left. Clear it is? These are trade winds. Blue line it is given. Okay, so ITCZ we already discussed in the first video. If you don't know what is ITCZ, you can watch the video. It is already given you in detail. So intertropical convergence zone. Okay, so trade winds. In blue lines we can see it clearly. One more diagram is showing about latitudes. Here host latitudes, both hemisphere you can see host latitudes. It's a tricky question, I told you. It has come in many board papers and even for your uh, test, entrance test and all. What is host latitude? It is coming in sea level. In host latitude, it is given this name because in early ages ships were transporting the horses, but in this area had very less wind. Okay, they were sailing with the help of the wind, but in this area there were no wind. So that what they did is they were unloading these horses to another boats or another ships because they are not able to move further because of the less speed of the wind. That is why these areas have been given the name host latitudes. Okay, so don't think that why this host latitude name is given here. It's mainly given in sea level. Okay, let's see the next characteristics of trade winds. We already discussed the direction, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere, it comes from northeast to southwest. Remember that whenever it starts, which direction it starts, the name gets. See, it is starting from northeast, so the name of the trade wind is northeast trade winds. Okay. So this is the direction the wind comes, northeast trade winds. Next, southern hemisphere. I told you two parts of the earth, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere, it comes from southeast to northwest. So obviously the name will be southeast trade winds. Yeah, it is given here. Southeast trade winds. Next, permanent wind is westerlies. First permanent wind we already learned, trade winds. Okay, northeast trade winds and southeast trade winds. Next comes westerlies. What are the characteristics? Characteristics of westerlies. Wind blows from subtropical high pressure belt to the subpolar low pressure belt. Here again you keep in mind, always wind blows from high pressure to low pressure. So subtropical high pressure belt. We already learned this, what is subtropical high pressure belt. So the diagram. Here, see, this is trade winds, northeast trade winds and southeast trade winds. Here, this is westerlies. Westerlies, west, always from west. Okay, I told you the name gets from starting point. Land breeze from land, westerlies from west, easterlies from east. So this is very easy to remember. So this is a subtropical high pressure belt. Okay, so from this belt it goes to, from west it starts and goes to east. Okay, northeast, it goes to northeast. From southwest to northeast. From here, northwest to southeast. Clear? These are, we can see that these are opposite direction of trade winds. Trade winds are going this way and westerlies are going opposite direction. That is why it is, another name is called anti-trade winds. Okay, we will be discussing characteristics of westerlies. Northern hemisphere, I told you, it goes from southwest to northeast direction. We already learned, seen in the diagram. Southern hemisphere, it comes from northwest to southeast. Wind blows from warmer areas to cooler areas, so it gives rain throughout the year. Remember, it comes from warmer area, and that is subtropical high pressure belt to subpolar low pressure belt. So subpolar areas is having cooler areas, so that it gives rain throughout the year. They are blowing opposite direction of trade winds, so they are called anti-trade winds. Next is about the polar easterlies. Easterlies, it always from east. Okay, so the diagram shows. Before that, it blows from polar high pressure areas towards the subpolar low pressure areas. Okay, these are known as easterlies or the polar winds. We already learned about high pressure areas, polar high pressure areas, due to the Coriolis effect. If you have not seen, if you have doubt, you can watch the first video. So these are coming from east side. That is why the name is given as easterlies, or the other name is polar winds. In northern hemisphere, it blows from northeast to southwest. Southern hemisphere, it blows from southeast to northwest. We can see the diagram for detail. Yeah, see, this is reflecting north. North means upside, but it is from east to south west. South means downside and west side. It goes to west side. And these are polar easterlies, south pole, and it goes from southeast to northwest. Okay, north means upside. You don't think that this all are south, then how north is speaking here, but think that north means always upside, south means downside. Here same way, this is north and it goes to south and west side. Okay, so from northeast to southwest, and from here southeast to northwest. So these are permanent winds. So as it starts from east, the name is given as easterlies. Next we learn about periodic winds. Do you remember? I given you the types of winds. Permanent winds we learned up to this. Next one is periodic winds. Periodic winds are also known as seasonal winds. In one direction, it will be blowing in one season, but it will be in opposite direction in another season. So, seasonally it will be changing its direction, but permanent wind will not change its direction. It has a definite direction throughout the year. Okay, that is a comparison between permanent wind and periodic wind. Yeah, we already discussed it changes its direction periodically. Example, land breeze and sea breeze. Monsoons. Monsoons are seasonal wind from Arabian Sea. It blows from southwest in summer season. Southwest in summer season. You may know that the monsoon winds reach the southwest area, touch the Kerala, and it will be coming. And now you are listening this means news every summer season. I mean July month, June month, it is almost touching in Kerala coast, and by north side it will be touching around July, and the July 15 sometimes it comes. Okay, so in winter season it goes back. That means on opposite direction, it comes from northeast and goes to southwest. Okay, so in your syllabus it is not given it as detailed, only what is monsoon winds and only types of periodic winds only you have to learn. Do not want to go further about monsoons. Next, we will be learning about land breeze and sea breeze. Okay, here examples are given: monsoon winds over and land breeze and sea breeze. Okay, first we will learn about sea breeze. Sea breeze blows from sea to land during daytime. You know that sea gets heated very slowly, but land gets heated very fast. As the sun shines, land gets heated very fast, so that the air around the land will be going upward as it is heated. When there is a high pressure occurs in sea area, sea water level, and there is a tendency to come to land during daytime. That is why sea breeze blows from sea to land during daytime. It brings cool air from sea and it blows towards the adjacent nearby lands of the coastal areas. It brings cool air. The velocity is about 20 kilometers. So what is velocity? Velocity means distance divided by time. So it is around 20 kilometers. Not, it's a breeze only. It is not a storm. It's not a cyclone. It's a breeze. Breeze type. Small winds. Okay. Land breezes. This is just opposite. During night time what happens? The sun gets sets, and immediately the land will be cooling. Immediate cooling will be there, but water will not cool as fast as the land, so that there is a pressure variation is there. With this pressure variation, wind blows from land to sea. So that is during the night time it occurs. As land cools fast, low pressure reduces and water cools slow. As pressure variation, breeze forms. Okay, this is given. I explained you already. It is comparatively weaker than sea breeze. Okay, sea breeze we discussed that around 20 kilometers per hour, but here this is comparatively weaker breezes are there. This is occurs during night time. Next is about local winds. Local winds are locally called in different areas. Different winds are there. So in India, this is Loo is very familiar for us. It comes in India and Pakistan during May and June around summer month. Okay, so it can cause sunstroke to the paper. Sunstroke, you know that sunburning. Sunburning occurs. It makes the summer very severe. Severe hot blows are there. So during this time, sunstroke can happen to the paper. So low, remember, in India. Chinku. Chinku comes in USA. It is a snow eater. Snow eater. So to eat snow, it should be warm. No? So then only it can be eaten. That means disappearing. So that is why this is called warm, dry, southwesterly wind which blows down the eastern slopes of the Rockies in parts of USA and Canada. So this is Chinku, a name given to a local winds, especially its warm, dry, southwesterly winds. Next is Foehn. Foehn is in Europe. It's a strong, dry, hot wind which develops on the leeward side of Alps mountain range, and it's a strong dry hot winds in Europe. Next is about Mistral. Mistral is also in Europe. It's called northwesterly winds. Northwesterly wind experienced on the northwestern coast of the Mediterranean Sea. It comes in seaside and it is cold. These three are hot and dry winds, but this is cold wind as it comes from Mediterranean Sea, and it obviously has moisture too. Next is about variable winds. Due to some disturbance by the local condition, variable winds occurs. Mainly two types of variable winds are there: cyclones and anticyclones. What is a cyclone? Cyclones represents a low pressure system at the center surrounded by the high pressure. So remember, a cyclone has always सेंटर पे लो प्रेशर होते हैं and on other side all surrounded by high pressure. So that is why there is a tendency to converge towards the center. Converging means the tendency to mix towards center. Center की तरफ से pressure will be coming towards the center. Next is about the direction. In northern, here also we have to compare it, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere the direction is anti-clockwise, but southern hemisphere it is clockwise. Okay, so how the movement occurs. An anticyclone. Anticyclone has high pressure in the center. In cyclone, what was low pressure in the center, but anticyclone always having high pressure in the center and low pressure surrounded by. What is the movement of the wind? Direction. This also northern hemisphere it is clockwise, but in cyclone what it was? Northern hemisphere it was anti-clockwise. Just opposite, it is clockwise. Clear? So in southern hemisphere it is anti-clockwise, but it was clockwise in southern hemisphere for cyclone. Okay, you have to comparative studies are needed here. एंटीसाइक्लोन क्या होता है, साइक्लोन क्या होता है. साइक्लोन में होती है लो प्रेशर, सेंटर में होती है, बट एंटीसाइक्लोन में हाई प्रेशर सेंटर में होती है. और डायरेक्शन होती है नॉर्थन हेमिस्फीयर में एंटी क्लॉकवाइज होती है साइक्लोन में, बट एंटी साइक्लोन में ये होती है क्लॉकवाइज. एंड सेम वे सदर्न हेमिस्फीयर में क्लॉकवाइज डायरेक्शन होती है साइक्लोन में, बट एंटी साइक्लोन में ये होती है एंटी क्लॉकवाइज. क्लियर? होप यू गॉट इट. कैन वी गो टू द नेक्स्ट? Tropical cyclones. So tropical cyclones are there, temperate cyclones are there, and anticyclones are there. We are going to discuss about tropical cyclones. It occurs in the later part of the summer season. Okay, so they are created by the unequal heating of land and water. Tropical cyclone, tropical area having a high pressure areas, and it is in summer season, late summer part, and it is common in northern hemisphere during August and September. It is violent and destructive winds. Okay, the tropical cyclones, what are the characteristics? You can tell that it occurs in later part of the summer season. They are created by unequal heating of land and water, common in northern hemisphere during August and September. They are violent and destructive winds. In India, they come from Bay of Bengal. India also sometimes it occurs during the late part of summer season. Next is temperate cyclones. That is, another name is temperate depression. It is happens in temperate zones. It is almost cool areas. So originate in zone where warm westerlies meet cold polar winds. So I can show the diagram. It occurs in warm westerlies and polar areas. Around this area it occurs. While it is converging here or meeting here, this temperate cyclones occurs. That means the plane along which hot and cold masses meet together, there is a chance of front. It's called front, and so this origin is called frontal origin. So this temperate cyclones are also coming as the result of frontal origin. So frontal origin means it is the mixing up of hot and cold winds in plain areas. So the movement is faster in winter months, but it is slower in summer months. The velocity is a little bit less and it causes rainfall. So first we learned about tropical cyclones. It is very destructive wind, violent winds, but as far as temperate cyclones are concerned, they are less violent but it causes rainfall. Next, anticyclones. Here two diagrams are given, cyclone and anticyclone. We already discussed about this definition of anticyclone and its direction, how it comes. Cyclone from a low pressure in the middle, and that is why convergence is there. But anticyclone, here high pressure is there, so it's a divergent. This will be divergent. But while it is going upside, there is a tendency to converge inside, but in a cyclone it goes divergent. Okay. Characteristics: high pressure center surrounded by low pressure on all sides. It may lies between two cyclones and has no definite direction of movement. It can be occurs in any direction. There is no definite direction. I told you only permanent wind has a definite direction, but anticyclones don't have definite direction. The winds are divergent, light, slow, and never becomes violent. So this is a comparative study we learned. In this studies we are discussing about anticyclones. Okay, cyclones we already learned, but it's a comparative study. For your purpose I have given both here. So in this characteristic we are discussing only anticyclones. The winds are divergent, light, slow, and never become violent. The last wind of this chapter is just jet streams. The last part of this is jet streams. It's a narrow belt of westerly winds in the high altitude in the troposphere. You know that our atmosphere has troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere. It has found during Second World War. What had happened during the World War? Jet planes got an obstruction of wind while going to east to west. Okay, but while they came back, they got a very high speed for their jets, so that they think why it is so. While they've gone to east to west, they got one obstruction high altitude of the troposphere. As the jet plane moves, there is an occurrence of wind, and there's a disturbance of wind, so they given this name as jet streams. Okay, so this winds got its name jet streams. They influence the weather condition of the region. This is happening, and weather condition may vary with the appearance of the jet streams. They cause both divergence and convergence in the troposphere. Okay, it is very height. This is occurring in very heighted areas, but the weather is considered, it is even influencing our weather conditions. Okay, next video will be coming soon. We are just closing this video up to here. Thank you for watching the video.